Welcome to the What the Fuck America podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are going to be talking about how justice no longer means fuck all in this country and why people that touch children should probably just die.
I agree. Fuck little kid touchers.
Yep.
I don't care if that's your preference.
Yep.
You know it's wrong. I don't care. Unless you are mentally retarded and you are that age in your brain and it's a fucking fact, fuck you.
Yep.
You disgusting mongrel.
Yep. We here on this podcast have a working theory that in about 3 years, they're going to try and make pedophilia a sexual orientation and have it protected under the LGBTQAAIP. P
That
stands
means
for pedophile.
Yeah, that means they want you to socially, as a people, as a nation, as a world, as a race of humans, to accept old men fucking little kids.
Yep.
Disgusting.
Which we on this podcast will never, ever be okay with.
I would rather take a bullet in the fucking head.
Yep.
Than fucking
tolerate
fuck
a society.
That. I would not tolerate a society like that. Fuck them.
Yep.
Sorry, that was angry, and I'm not really that angry today. I just thought that the whole article and story is disgusting, and people like that. To me, yes, you're an American, you deserve your day in court, but fuck you. Yep. I hope they rape you with a fucking hook. A hook. Fuck them.
All right, you wanna read that article? I do not.
Did I not give it to you?
You did, but I have closed Discord.
Okay. So this was something from Fox 11 News. Green Bay teacher charged. Complaint shows no discipline after 2016 allegation. Mind you, an allegation in 2016. It is now 2021.
Yep. And allegations should be taken seriously.
Always. Okay. So, the article reads, a Green Bay elementary school teacher has now been charged with 3 sex crimes involving children, and a criminal complaint indicates the school district knew about allegations of inappropriate touching in 2016, but no disciplinary action was taken. So, I'm going to butcher this dude's name, and I don't give a fuck. So, anybody that shares this last name, sorry for you. David Villarreal, and that's how it's spelled, Villarreal, 46-year-old man, okay, was charged Thursday afternoon with 2 counts of first-degree sexual assault of a child and 1 count of repeated sexual assault of the same child.
Jesus Christ.
See, I'm saying it like this because it's disgusting, and I have to. The school district put Villarreal, a second-grade bilingual teacher at Baird Elementary School, on administrative leave after he was arrested on Wednesday. In a letter to Baird families, district administration said the arrest was based on allegations of inappropriate contact between himself and students at the school. According to the criminal complaint, 3 former students allege Villarreal inappropriately touched them during class between 2015 and 2017. Each student told investigators Villarreal would touch them inappropriately at his desk, and times were stacked on his desk, or it says stacked, but I feel like sat, likely preventing other students from seeing anything. Something like that.
Yeah, that's just so. What I will say is, when I was growing up, I was in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, and I had a big, I will not disclose his name because I don't want him associated with this podcast, but I had a quote-unquote situation that I could have turned, this is where I'm going with this story. We played a game, it was like a game called handball. He had a entryway and an entryway, they were about the same size, and they were pretty decent ways apart, so we'd essentially play like football in his living room, but we were on our knees, and so he'd throw the ball, and then I'd grab it, I'd waddle with my knees, and I'd try and make it past him, and he had to like tackle me. Well, one time I wriggled out and my pants came off. And I don't remember how old I was. I might have been like 14, 15 or something. 13, 12. I don't remember. I was somewhere in that range. It wasn't weird because we were just playing a fucking game. That could have been a sexual assault allegation right there. So that's what I'm saying with this is should have been taken seriously immediately. If I were to come out to my mom and said, "Hey, my big took my pants off," that should have been cleared up right away, immediately, the very next day. Which, to be clear, we were playing a game. I was wriggling out, and my pants got wriggled out. Wasn't weird. Wasn't creepy. He's not a kid toucher.
I believe you. Okay, so this keeps going on here. It says one of the victims alleged Villarreal inappropriately touched her every day while he was her second grade teacher. Earlier this month, the mother of another victim told investigators her daughter first told her about the inappropriate touching after it happened in 2016. The mother said she set up a meeting with the principal of Baird Elementary and filed a report with the district, but no action was taken against him. It says his name, but I don't keep saying it. The mother
just
ended
call
up
him the pedophile.
The pedophile. The mother the mother ended up pulling her daughter out of the school, according to the complaint. According to the complaint, the mother of the victim told investigators the school said, this is in quotes, the school said this was not like the teacher to do this because he's a Christian.
Yep.
Why does that matter?
Yeah.
We hear a whole lot of shit about the Catholic priests, and last I checked, Jesus was Christian, and everybody worships Jesus in those religions. So,
and there are a lot of kid touchers, apparently.
Oh my God. Anyway, last week, Green Bay police officer met with Baird Elementary School principal Michael Sheehan about the incident. According to the complaint states Sheehan said at the time the parent of the victim just wanted to make sure it didn't happen again and that she wanted to pull her daughter out of the school. The officer asked Sheehan if the teacher admitted to touching the victim, and Sheehan said the teacher told him, "I don't know if I did that or not." So the police weren't even involved in the last time this shit happened, which they should have been immediately notified that there was a complaint of this, because whether you like it or not, the police are the fucking investigators, not the fucking school.
Yep. Well, okay. That's like the section, not section 230. What is it called? Title 9. I
wish we had a cop on the show for one time.
Yeah, that would be nice. So Title 9, colleges can actually look into sexual assault allegations. And there have been numerous kids that have lost scholarships, that have lost degrees for fake sexual assault allegations.
I understand that. That is why the school should not be because there's now, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, there are actual police that are trained in the art of interrogation.
Yep.
That is when you ask questions and make people feel fucking uncomfortable to tell you the goddamn truth or to find out if they're lying, right?
Yep.
So that is why they should be the ones investigating it, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's my feeling, okay? So,
yep. I completely agree.
That's like my dad, very strict. We've talked about this before. He knew every time I was lying. Every fucking time.
Yep.
I'm his kid, so he knows, but still, that's how that shit goes, right? All right. So, the complaint also shows Sheehan told the officer Villarreal once showed up intoxicated to training at district headquarters, but that didn't involve students. Sheehan also described Villarreal as someone who wanted to be cool, to be the cool teacher and to be friends with the kids, and confirmed Villarreal is single and lives with his mom in Sheboygan.
Jesus Christ.
You better get a girlfriend quick, buddy.
Yeah, dude.
They're going to start going after all the dudes that live in their mom's basements, man.
I know. Okay, let's be clear also. If you're still over the age of 25 and live at home, you're a fucking loser. And that includes myself. That fucking includes myself. All right?
Hey, sometimes admitting you need help is
The first step
in the right direction. Yep. Yeah.
I at least have a job, though.
Yeah. So I'm going to make it kind of a little bit shorter. The police obtained the school documents pertaining to the 2016 allegations. Mm-hmm. And then there's a report later states the victim did whisper to our translator that the teacher touched her after helping her with math, and the teacher was sitting at his desk and she was in front of him. The report also states the teacher did apologize for any confusion and said, "I don't know if I did that or not. And if I did it, it wasn't with any intention, and my mom could call him with any questions or concern." That sounds weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That I'm reading that word for word. Anyway.
Yeah. So I will say too, is it, I coached 7th grade football, I want to say. I think it was 7th grade. And I'm a very touchy-feely, huggy person. I'm very emotional, very caring. I'm an asshole, but I'm very caring, in person at least. And when that football season ended, I gladly hugged all those kids. I didn't, bear hug them and put my hands in any inappropriate places, strictly because I feared allegations of bullshit. But it's a sad society when you can't be, I don't want to say touchy-feely because that's borderline, wrong. But it's a sad society when physical touch is almost shied upon and not okay in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I get it.
And I'm not saying, you don't put your hand on a fucking 2nd grade year old's thigh. That's just creepy.
Yeah. I mean, this is like when the allegation was raised in 2016, Villarreal, about the 2016, he thought it was an accident where he was opening a file cabinet and he may have brushed against the student's bottom. So, yep, there's that. And then another one said that the teacher told her, "I hope your dad divorces your mom so I can go with your mom." There's a lot of strange things in this whole article. And if this is all true, he would share his lunch with them and give them lots of prizes. He would ask all the kids about staying for lunch, and boys would raise their hands, but he wouldn't pick on them most of the time. That's some weird shit, dude, you know? He had another one where the girl went to the closet in the classroom and it had a curtain, and he told the girl to go inside, and then he hugged her in the curtain with the curtain around her. And see, the types of things that are being said are a little too, what do you say, specific to not be believable to me. Okay.
Yep. But if they would have immediately investigated these allegations,
this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
So, now you're looking at stuff from 1st degree sexual assault of a child. Charges are September 1st, 2015 and November. So he has all kinds of shit on him already.
Jesus.
So to me, here you go. Online court records show the offense dates for the 1st degree sexual assault of child charges September 1st, 2015 and November 17th, 2016. The offense date listed for the repeated sexual assault of the same child is May 30th, 2016. So, and he's been employed with the district since 2014. So What's happening now is there's no new allegation. This is this dude, and God knows if there's any new ones, because how many kids haven't said anything?
Yeah, you would think they'd be combing through all those kids though to find them, if
They
there
must
were
be.
any.
They must be, because
Yeah,
that's a lot of shit.
those allegations should have been checked into immediately.
Like, those kids are what now, in fucking middle school?
Yeah. So what's funny about this though is at my high school, West, we actually had a band teacher who was gay and messaging. I mean, they were in high school, so it's not as outlandish. But he was messaging and flirting with young boys of the high school age, and yeah, yep. So that was,
Yeah.
and I actually had him as a teacher.
Oh wow! Wait, was that a few years ago?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yep.
Yep.
So
yeah, so very, very interesting that this is all.
Why do you think they're trying to sexualize children, in the sense that puberty blockers are okay for them to change their sex / gender / whatever the fuck one they happen to be calling it these days?
Yeah.
It's, why do you think there's what is it called? Something story time. Cross-dress story time, I think, is what they call it, where a cross-dressing man goes in and reads little children books. Like, why do children need to be exposed to a cross-dresser? If the parents want to have their kids watch RuPaul's Drag Show or whatever the fuck it's called, that's on the parents.
Yeah.
But we should not be pushing children into having cross-dresser story time, or having.
We shouldn't, most definitely not telling them that there's anything other than boys and girls, and you were born with a penis, you are a boy. Yep. Your body is a boy's body. You have a boy's body, or you have a girl's body.
Yep.
That's it. That is it. You can fucking grow whatever the fuck you want on the back of a fucking mouse or a pig if you want to try to grow a penis and have it attached. And if that's the case, more power to you. And if you're a dude and you want to chop it off, more power to you. But don't be shoving it down little kids' fucking faces. It's disgusting.
So what's interesting too about that, do you know, or did you know, that when a guy cuts off his penis, the body, when he does the turning it into a vagina part, where it's so disgusting to even think about. But when they turn the penis into a vagina,
yeah,
the body thinks it's a wound, and it tries to close it. So you have to constantly keep shoving things up your man-made vagina to keep it from closing.
I wonder if butt plug sales have gone through the roof since this all started.
Probably.
It's disgusting.
Yep. So there you go. That's your daily transgender news. You have to shove a butt plug up your pee hole, your man-made vagina. I hate society.
I mean, you can't be shoving things into that though.
But you have to, because it's a wound. The body thinks it's a wound, so it tries to close it.
Are you sure they're not just like chopping off the wiener and making like a fake clitoris and then just taking it in the ass?
Nope. They Google it. Google it right now.
I am not Googling. I don't want that shit on my computer. Fucking penis chopping off and shit. My wife uses this computer. What are you, nuts?
Oh yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But let's hop into the other story, the Mary J. Wayna's story.
Oh wait, real quick. I will be giving updates on this story as they come in.
Okay. I like it.
Only because these people cannot be part of our system and our society. They need to be put in a field somewhere and just let go
and put out to pasture,
or just bring them up into the fucking mountains of Wyoming and let them fucking get eaten or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm clicking out of that article. You have the con.
All right. So apparently there is a push for legislating marijuana in Wisconsin's budget budget continues, I should say. Green Bay, WLUK, Governor Evers hosted a live session during his budget Wednesday night. Part of the discussion was on the legalization of marijuana. The session is a part of a series on his Badger Bounce Back budget. I fucking hate that name. While the governor is pushing for pot to be legal, some lawmakers say they're not sure now is the time. Bottom line is, we've got a lot to change. We can't do things the way we've always done them, Evers said. The budget includes legalization of marijuana, both medically and recreationally. The governor and his team would like to regulate the drug similarly to how they regulate alcohol. No reason we shouldn't join the other 17 states in legalizing it, said Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. Let's see. The state would also like to create a system to reduce sentencing for those with marijuana-related charges. Marijuana legalization is something Republican State Representative Shay Sortworth, Republican from Two Rivers, says he's generally in support of. Oh, that's fantastic. If it came down to a vote, I would vote for it, said Sortwell. But having it included in the budget is where Representative Sortwell sees an issue. Okay, let's hear him out here. Not only do we have all these financial decisions where we're taking tens and millions, billions of dollars, but now we're going to throw policy on top of it, and I don't think it's a really good position for us to be in, said Sortwell. I guess I can kind of agree with that. Probably make it make it its own bill. I don't anticipate medical.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say it actually should not be part of our bounce back from COVID-19, because that's really what this Badger budget bullshit is, right? So, and I agree with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's no point to make it part of a budget. So
there's no rush.
Yeah. I do anticipate the medical one very least having some traction this fall. And I think we might get some traction on the decriminalization bill. Yes, said Sortwell. On recreational, I'm sorry it's a bridge too far for so many of my colleagues, and that's not going to happen right now. Yeah. I guess I will take decriminalization all day. On Sundays.
Yeah. You even have like decriminalization is really at this point at the, I don't know if it's the county or the actual city, because I think my mom was talking to me about that, about the, I think it is, they give you a ticket unless you got a lot. I don't know. I know when Connecticut went decriminalization, they would just take it from you and write you a ticket, and you'd go to court, or you just send the $100 or something, whatever it was.
Yep.
But I don't get in trouble for stuff like that, so I don't know.
Well, I don't even like the ticket for $100, because who does that only affect? The rich people that have it, $100 is nothing to them. Poor people that have it, $100 is everything to them.
Right. But so is a speeding ticket, right?
Yep. It's the same thing. A $300 fine to Elon Musk it's fucking not even pocket change. It's not even couch change. It's the penny he picks up on the side of the road for him. But for someone who is on his last $400 and he's got to make that last the next 3 weeks, that might not be a fun winter for him. So I've never
Yeah,
liked the
yeah.
idea of fines as penalty.
Yeah, no.
You know what I just thought?
What's that?
Mandated community service.
Yeah.
Let's say you're speeding on the highway you're speeding on, mandatory 12 hours of highway cleanup. I don't think that's a
Yeah.
bad idea.
That ain't a bad idea. I
Um,
had to do community service once. I actually had
oh yeah.
to I cleaned ambulances.
Is this for the alleged terrorism?
Yes, the
You got to tell
alleged
that story.
terrorism.
You got to tell that story on here one day.
Yes, I will one day. We'll call it alleged terrorism.
And then I'll just say all the death threats I want to at once.
Yes, that's fine. But yeah, I was like 14. I think it was like 14. Yeah, it was like right before junior or
High school.
freshman year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, I had to do 800 hours of community service was my fucking thing. So or was it 800 or 500? It might have been 500, but still, that's a lot of freaking hours of
That's a
community
lot.
service, dude.
Yep.
So what I ended up doing was at first I was just going down to the volunteer we had volunteer fire departments all over our town, and one of them had ambulances too, so I would go there like 2 or 3 times a week and clean the freaking ambulance, like wipe the inside down,
Clean out all the
shit
blood.
like that. Yeah, I had a friend that actually had to clean the fire trucks, and he said it's such bullshit because you're polishing all that damn shiny shit on them and stuff. And I was like, oh, thank God. This thing was white, so it didn't matter. But man, I'll tell you, those freaking practice dummies are fucking heavy when you're a little kid.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, yeah, I had to do tons of community service, and then I ended up being a police explorer, and I was like, fuck community service. I'll just pay my taxes for now.
Yep. But yeah, that's one thing I'm a very big proponent of is, maybe not legalization. I guess I could really give a fuck less about. Generally, it's the decriminalization for me. So the reason why I think decriminalization is such a big step in the right direction for this country, you got to look at who it's affecting the most and who is not being affected by it really at all. I'm not affected by someone who smokes weed in any way, shape, or form. Now, obviously, you can't be going down the highway 100 miles an hour smoking weed and, treat it like alcohol, I guess. And at least that's my layman sense of it. Treat it like alcohol, and then everything's fine. But when you look at it, take a look at, we're going to talk about 3 recent deaths in quote unquote political lives. George Floyd. If everything was decriminalized in the George Floyd case, why the fuck is there a siren going on?
They're doing the tornado siren testing around here.
Why? That only happens on Wednesdays at noon.
I know, but it happened earlier today too. I wonder if there's a tornado coming that we didn't know about. Or is China invading from Canada?
Yep. But so anyway, take a look at the most recent police mass murder of George Floyd. If drugs were decriminalized, he wouldn't have had to take all of his drugs to not be arrested. And that's one thing, if you're following along to the court stuff, it's just one of those things where George Floyd probably would have been alive today, and so many other people would not have had to deal with going to jail. And it's a lot of socioeconomic things that are mixed into just the one thing of legalizing drugs or decriminalizing drugs.
Right. I mean, shit, back in the old days, like women used to literally walk around with like a bottle of liquid heroin basically and be drinking that shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you ever saw the movie Tombstone, like Wyatt Earp's wife was legitimately a fucking drug addict, man. There, like, opium was a thing. The freaking Chinese came here when they were building the railroads, freaking smoking everybody up on opium and shit, man. That's fucking heroin, man. Like, any way you shake it, man, they come from the same fucking plant, you know? So, hey, it was legal. I mean, doctors used to use heroin as a treatment for morphine addicts.
Yep.
Like, come on. Drugs are a part of our society, right? There's always a need. Yeah, there's always a need, right? There's always a pain. There's always a feeling or whatever. People are going to do them anyway. You might as well fucking just say, fuck it.
Yep.
Right?
I mean,
now, if someone's doing drugs and hurting someone, that might be a thing. You're under the influence. Okay. However, you took mind-altering drugs. You made that decision.
Yeah, so there's so many. It's just ridiculous. It's just all right. So I just prison policy incentive or initiative. 1 in 5 incarcerated people are locked up for drug offenses. 450,000 are incarcerated for nonviolent drug offenses on any given day. About 200,000 in state prisons, around 150,000 in local jails, around 100,000 in federal prisons, 2,000 youth, and 80 military. And this was a study from 2020, I want to say. So, I mean, just think of how many additional fathers are probably sitting in jail. So my big thing, I think the biggest issue we have in society, lack of fathers, and a lot of that stems from government bullshit, whether it being government incentivizing single motherhood through all the additional benefits that people get and all the drug crimes, the nonviolent drug offenses, of which there's damn near 500,000 sitting in jail at any given time, which is completely pointless. If it's a nonviolent drug offense, who was offended upon? Nobody. Literally nobody. So I think that's one of the biggest issues we are having. And I don't mean to sound reductive and boil it down to one issue, but I think if you decriminalize and get rid of all, you just got to rip off that Band-Aid of the single mother, or the welfare state, we'll just call it. You got to rip off that Band-Aid of the welfare state and allow these, granted it's not all, but these 500,000 fathers to get back into the homes. I mean, I feel like that will be a massive benefit to society.
Right.
But
I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons that come with it, you know?
Yep.
You know, so some of the things too, like, you know, all in all, yes, decriminalize all of it.
Yep.
But when it comes to making shit legal, I'm not sure Wisconsin would be ready for something like full legalization.
Like what Oregon has?
Yeah. You know, like Oregon and, or actually it was Washington and Colorado that did it first. Mm-hmm. They went full on, right? And that benefited them, but they had the infrastructure in place already because they started with medical. Everybody starts that shit with medical, right?
Yep.
California started with medical, Oregon, all of them. They all start the same way. And the reason is because it takes a lot to get set up with all of that stuff. You're talking it does great things, like it creates a shit ton of jobs. A shit ton of jobs.
A lot of tax money rolls in.
Oh my God. They have I have it up here too, like for tax revenue.
And that's state tax money, not federal.
Right. That's not even federal, man. And it says increase in tax revenue. The point right? Legal sales of cannabis products amounted to 996 million in 2015. That's almost $1 billion,
Yep.
right? Spent. Okay. That's okay. So then the tax revenue of those sales was 135 million. Okay.
That's a shit ton.
That's a shit ton of money for a state to pull in, man.
Yep.
And not to mention, right? So that was 2015. All that money, right? Especially in this area, roads, schools, right? It says public projects they used it for. They hired more police and firefighters. Okay. So I'm not all about like hiring more cops. Like I could care less. But at the same time, with all of that and all of the decriminalization, if you have more police out and more people like first responder type people out there, right? You're creating a safe, right? You're creating the safety. You know what I mean?
I guess I would say the illusion of
right.
safety.
I was gonna say illusion, and I didn't because I didn't want it to seem like I was being,
because cops are just a deterrent. You know? Cops are
right,
all they
exactly.
are is a deterrent.
Yeah, because whether you believe it or not, man, like that's why when you see these videos of black dudes getting pulled over, like, don't shoot me, man, don't shoot me, right? Because they know.
Well, and that's the thing too, is if we had a lot less bullshit laws on the books that they're pointless. There are so many laws that are absolutely pointless.
Right.
Apparently, the reason why Dante Wright got pulled over was his plates were expired.
Yeah.
Not this bullshit. He had a air freshener hanging in his window. Yeah. So there's just so many. Granted, I guess you have to have registered plates or whatever. I guess. But yeah, there's just so many needless police interactions that result in needless violence. And a big part of that is media too. If all you're shown every day, day in and day out, police are literally hunting down the Negro and trying to get him back to the slave master. Like, if that's all you show day in and day out, and that's all you see day in and day out, that's all you're going to believe.
Yep. Yeah. I'm not sure if this is true, but it says here decrease. One of the pros is a decrease in gang-related drug violence, which I guess.
Yeah.
But because you're eliminating, like, so if you decriminalize, right, versus full legalization, if you're just decriminalizing, you still have that black market, right? So when that black market's there, and I don't mean it like color of the skin black, just the black market. You have black market sales of drugs, right? Because you can't just go to the fucking store. However, if you legalize it, you can buy it in a store, and that's
make
good.
Tax money off of it.
Right. That's how you get the tax money. Now, if it's legal, then yes, drug or gang-related drug violence, yes, would be down. Whatever else gangs fucking fight over, that doesn't really pertain to this, but still, you know.
Territory, pussy.
You know, so like we said before, the tax revenue with more police, you know, and they would be able to, those police, you'd be able to focus more on violent crimes, or say, really, that's what it is, right? Because isn't that what the fucking problem is? All the goddamn violence and hate towards each other and all this shit, right? Especially with these kids, right? Because now you have a bunch of kids, and my wife brought this up earlier. What about all those kids that are going to school and might have a shitty ass home life? Right. And school is them, you know, them going to fucking school is them not getting the shit beat out of them all day by their fucking violent ass drunk fucking parent. And I say drunk because I ain't from here and I know how this shit is with the drinking. So the problems with it, though, especially with marijuana, people will argue this, and even scientists argue it. Marijuana's addictive.
Yep.
Right. It is. You can become dependent on it. Right. So it's just.
Is it addictive or is it habit forming?
So I will say it's habit forming, depending, because, like, for instance, with people who suffer from like chronic pain, right? Mm-hmm. You figure someone with chronic pain, however they choose to deal with that, if they're going to smoke, right, that might alleviate it, and maybe they get that pain all the time. Or let's say someone who's being treated for, like, because they use it for a lot of different shit, like Crohn's disease and cancer treatment. I'm not saying cure. Yep. It does not cure really anything that we know of, right?
Well, and that was, I think, a big pushback. A lot of people, you had all these people that were like, "Oh, smoking cures cancer," it blah blah blah, and those people were like, "All right, I get you want it to get legalized, but come on now,
right?
Let's not sell false hope."
The ones that, to me, are most important when it comes to using it for, let's say, like a medicine. Okay. I don't really know Crohn's disease, but it's a disease. That sounds bad, right?
Yeah.
That's a pain. That sounds painful. Epilepsy. I actually knew a kid with epilepsy that was using cannabis for treatment, and it did work fairly well with him.
Yep.
MS, the pain with MS.
Yep.
My friend Lou, when his mom had that, man, he literally became a freaking drug dealer just so his mom could smoke pot, right? That was the only way you could get it.
Yeah.
PTSD, especially the people in uniform, because the only thing they have that they can get away with is if someone puts them on some fucking antipsychotic, which, if you've ever talked to a vet that's been put on fucking antidepressants and shit like that because of war, it does not go well for them usually, right? Smoking a little weed versus taking a bunch of pills and drinking a fucking fifth of whiskey or a half gallon of fucking Crown every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, how many vets a day kill themselves? Like 22?
I don't have the number, but yeah, I remember we did talk about this before, and yeah, it's bad. Anxiety, insomnia, I will attest, is definitely good for insomnia. The biggest one that I found very, very interesting, it's used to treat high blood sugar. Right? So I don't know the science behind that, but it is in, the pro section of it, when it comes to using it as a medicine. But the addiction, I would say, if you're not, if you're just, you can get a dependency on it. We'll say that.
Yeah.
Because you will get, if you are, let's say, 15 every day, 15 years every day, and then all of a sudden you stop, you're probably going to get depressed. You'll probably be a little on edge, but the same thing happens when you're a fucking smoker for 30 fucking years and you quit. You know what I mean? So there's that. It's probably worse for your lungs than cigarettes, if I had to be honest. I mean, without the chemicals that are in cigarettes, I think that the amount of, because you're taking it deeper and holding it, stuff like that, where you're doing more damage in that sense.
Yeah.
Where, whereas if you actually, apparently you can just hit it like how you're supposed to smoke a cigar and it'll do the same. I don't know if I believe that, but anyway, so there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons. But because you got to figure, if someone's dependent on it and then they go to get off because they might legalize it, but that does not mean that your job has to let you fucking be a pothead to fucking work there. You know what I mean?
The interesting thing about Colorado is there were so many job openings Because as soon as they legalized it,
yep,
everyone went out and did it.
Yep.
Your job doesn't have to keep you.
Yeah. Nobody. Yeah. Because if you, I mean, I worked and, especially forklift drivers, right? Forklift drivers, you take a drug test. If you break something at work, they probably will pull you in to take a drug test to make sure you weren't under the influence.
Yep.
Marijuana stays in your system for a long time. And if you're chubby like us, it will stay in your system. It'll stay in your fat cells, and it stays in your kidneys and all that shit. So you gotta be careful.
One thing that's always been a concern of mine too. So I have friends that do it, and if you're around it, and do you get, let's say you're around it, you're hanging out with your buddies, you go and get a drug test the next day. Is it going to show up in your system?
Well, the way I heard it, I was in boot camp, right? And they told us that it will, if you were sitting in a car, in the smallest car, and it was so smoked out you couldn't see, and you sat in that car all damn day, that it wouldn't show up in your system. However, I know people, and I've heard that contact highs are a myth. However, I have heard
I've been contact high before.
So I don't remember if I ever have, but I will say I've heard a lot of people say that they've gotten contact highs and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, I mean, that is also another thing, Yep.
I'll tell you my little quick story. We were sitting there, we were playing dominoes on like a little kitchen table, and it was like each person in the straights of the table, size table. So it wasn't a very big table. And three of them were smoking. They're sitting there playing dominoes, and I could not function. And all I could think about was McDonald's.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure, and my eyes felt stupid heavy.
Yeah.
Like
that does happen.
Heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, one more in the pro section, which I think is actually kind of important before we move on from this, right? Well, two things. One, the quality and safety control, that is really important too, because then you don't have people buying something off of some scumbag that sprayed it with fucking roach killer. Like, we legit had something we used to call roach spray, because that's what it fucking tasted like. When you smoked it, the smell or the taste of it was almost like the smell of fucking Raid, right?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, it was fucking horrible, man. And that's what we called it, right? So you're not buying shit like that, You can go and buy something that's so goddamn powerful. As soon as you take that hit, you're sleeping, Yeah. So that'll
and
be,
you don't have to risk, it being laced with fucking fentanyl.
Right, exactly. And that's the problem with heroin, right? They fucking put it in there to cut it or whatever to make it more intense. Like, fuck that.
Yep.
The only other thing are the economical benefits, and we kind of went over that already. So I don't know if you want me to jump down that a little, but
yeah, we can go into that a little bit.
As far as here we are, because I wanted to hit on when Colorado and Washington, and now you have states like Virginia just legalized, New York, New Mexico. They just passed this in March, for those two states. And that's a huge, huge step for New York, right?
Yeah.
New Mexico hasn't signed it yet, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
All these states are hurting, and they're using this to bounce back off of all of the shutdown shit that happened, all of those small businesses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be a huge, huge boost. We already said Colorado collected $302 million in taxes and fees on medical marijuana and recreational. The total, this is from 2019, the total sales over $1.7 billion with a B.
Jesus.
All right. And that's 2019. And like Colorado and Washington, they started that, and their tax revenues have just been bouncing up, baby, you know, buoyant, I think they call that. So, you know, in the US, 12.2 billion in 2019 and projected to increase to 31.1 billion by 2024. And that's just with the states that are legal, right? In
So
one shape or another.
3 additional states, that could be
that. I mean, it's astronomical, man. Like if they were to do that federally,
yep,
how explosive would our country would be a superpower again, all thanks to a stupid fucking plant. You know what I'm saying? It just like right here, for instance, right? A report from Colorado State University, Pueblo's Institute of Cannabis Research recently found that the legal cannabis industry has contributed more than $80.8 million to the local economy in 2017. Primarily through taxes and other fees. Okay. Think about the federal level, right?
Well, I think I would prefer it be more state controlled.
State controlled, but if you were to federally legalize, right? Because then you open up the country to shipping and shit like that. That's a projected by 2025, $105.6 billion.
Jeez.
Because you're making back the money that Joe Biden is spending faster than he fucking can open his damn eyes.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, it's all contingent on different studies and this and that. There's a lot of studies in what I'm reading right now. But you're talking about less unemployment, more money,
more taxes.
There are problems with that. A lot of tax money, a lot of, you know, but there are downfalls, right? To anything you do, there's going to be a backside to it, right?
Yep.
So,
but let's hop into why justice is dead in this country.
Yeah.
We got a couple things we're going to talk about, and this is going to get a little bit more philosophical on aspects of government. So the reason I say justice in this country is dead is obviously everyone has heard of Daunte Wright, who was shot by police, quote unquote, while driving while black, as his defense fucking lawyer said. So we've all heard about him. But one name you might not have heard of is Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and killed. Now let me say that again. She was shot and killed during the quote unquote Capitol riots, which, judging by the 2020 year, we're going to call what happened at the Capitol a peaceful protest. So I'm going to read this story quick. Officer cleared in the shooting death of Ashley Babbitt during Capitol riot, according to NPR. The Department of Justice announced Wednesday it will not pursue charges against the U.S. Capitol police officer who fatally shot a rioter inside of the Capitol building on January 6th. Officials determined there wasn't enough evidence to support a criminal prosecution. Following the shooting, an investigation was launched by U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia's Public Corruption and Civil Rights Section and the Civil Rights Division with Metropolitan Police Department Internal Affairs Division. Jesus, that's a lot of bullshit government names. According to a Justice Department statement, the investigation failed to provide evidence that the officer violated 18 USC Section 242, depriving Babbitt of her rights under the color of law. I just want you to let that sink in a little bit. Some dumbass chick went to the Capitol, didn't have a weapon on her, wasn't threatening in any manner. Now, this is stuff you have to go and search because the media will not tell you this. They just want to paint her as a rioter. So, a rioter, you assume she's got a fucking flaming torch, bricks, a bat with barbed wire in it, and she's fucking got war paint on. She was just in her backpack. She is in the Capitol, and some cunt in the fucking Department of Ass Fuckery of the District of Cuntery decided it was okay to just go ahead and shoot this bitch. And now they're not going to suffer any consequences. But Dante Wright, the new Jesus, as he'll be painted, he was resisting arrest. He was wanted on I want to say it was, what was it? There was a warrant out for his arrest. He was strangling some chick at gunpoint for like $800. It's just insane. And there's already charges against this cop. Granted, because we have clear-cut video evidence of her yelling "taser, taser, taser," and then she shot him.
Right.
But I mean, it's insane to me how anyone, with all the shit that all these political people get away with, you have Hunter Biden, the crackhead, who's not in jail. You have George Floyd, the crackhead, who's dead. I mean, where's the justice? Where is justice in this country? There isn't any. It's a myth. It is the good old lady with the scale who's blindfolded. She's not. She's got a book. She's reading the book. If your name's not in it, you get fucked by the long dick of the law. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, they got second-degree manslaughter.
Yep.
Which, I mean,
it was definitely a negligent discharge on her part. She is responsible for whatever comes out the barrel of her gun. 100%, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She is a law officer for 25 years. You should know where your fucking taser is. Now, I'm not alleging anything. She was saying taser, taser, taser. Not sure if she was telling other people to tase. Not sure if she was telling them she was about to tase. Not sure if she reached for the gun and thought it was the taser, or was trying to, as everyone else describes, she popped off of her fucking bed in the morning, said, "I'm going to go kill a Negro today." And just fucking, "Oh yeah, I'm going to say taser, taser, taser when I pull out my gun, and I'm just going to shoot him because I hate them damn dare Negroes."
Yeah. Well, there's some reasons why we know her name and why we know Chauvin's name, right? Because the Congress has not required the U.S. Capitol Police to report things like that. Like the Metropolitan and the D.C. Police have to. They're required by law to report all of that shit, all of the incidents, officer-involved shooting. There's a report. They tell you who did it, when, what happened, right? But the Capitol Police are its own thing.
Yep.
Kind of like the Secret Service is run by the fucking Fed, right? They are also not equipped with body cameras.
Yep.
What a shock, right?
Yep. Gotta, and it's a big part of it too is it's because the peasants were in the castle. and they don't like when the peasants are in the castle. Unless you're a Democrat. Unless you're a Democrat, then it's fine that you're in the castle. Then it's fine if you're AOC and you can go knock in at Nancy Pelosi's door or claw on the fucking giant 10-ton doors of the Supreme Court because the rapist Brett Kavanaugh got appointed to the Supreme Court. Fucking... It's just ridiculous. And not to fucking mention, the people that were rioting for 100 days straight in Portland, the Antifa members, most of them were quietly let go, no longer to be prosecuted. Their cases were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can no longer ever be tried for that prosecution again.
That's right.
It's fucking ridiculous. But those Capitol rioters from January 6th, those civil unresters, those domestic terrorists, those fucking mega faggots, they get what? Beat in prison because they're what? Trump supporters?
But yeah, Trump supporters, white, It's okay, though, as long as Nancy Pelosi gets to keep her $12 half pints of fucking ice cream, that fucking old bitch.
Yep.
Crypt keeping motherfucker.
Although I am going to give some praise to Nancy Pelosi later on in the video, so.
That's okay. You can praise her all you want. She's about to fucking be dust in the wind one of these days.
I hope so. Hopefully I do it to her.
Fucking, ugh. So disgusting. And she says things like, "Oh, I'm better than all of you, you fuck you. You fucking ugly cunt."
So let's talk about the filibuster.
This is what happens when you give women all the power, right?
Yep. Repeal the 19th, man. So the filibuster. Let me pull up what the filibuster is. Exactly. I will use what is the filibuster from the Washington Post. Oh, come on. No, I don't want to subscribe to you. You're a piece of shit fucking network.
Mm-hmm. Aren't they all?
States filibuster. A filibuster is a tactic employed in the United States Senate to prevent a measure from being brought to a vote. The most common form of filibuster occurs when one or more senators attempt to delay or block a vote on a bill by extending debate on the measure. The Senate rules permit a senator or a series of senators to speak for as long as they wish on any topic they choose, unless 3/5 of senators duly chosen and sworn, currently 60 out of 100, vote to bring the debate to a close by invoking cloture under Senate Rule 22. So, what that means is, if you do not have 60 votes, you typically cannot bring something to cloture to vote on it. So let's talk about the filibuster that almost killed the Civil Rights Act. And then we'll go into why we're talking about the filibuster a little bit. So on this day in 1964, the Senate was involved in an epic fight over the Civil Rights Act after a group of Southern senators started a record-setting filibuster in March. The act was signed by President Lyndon Baines Johnson on July 2nd, 1964, but not before a lengthy, protracted fight in Washington. In fact, no full-featured Civil Rights Act proposal has ever survived a filibuster attempt on the Senate floor. Under the old Senate rules, 2/3 of the Senate would need to vote for cloture, or limiting debate time on the floor. The act has been approved by the House of Representatives in 1964 in February, and the Senate Majority Mike Mansfield made the unusual move of bypassing the Judiciary Committee, which was chaired by an anti-bill senator, and placing the act directly on the Senate's main calendar. But when Mayfield made the first motion about the bill in the Senate, the well-organized filibuster attempt started. And had it been successful, the Civil Rights Act would have been finished for the Senate session. A year earlier, President John F. Kennedy told a nationwide audience that the act was necessary. A prior bill, the Civil Rights Act of 1957, sorry, I'm a little dyslexic, was imported, but it had a limited impact and it was difficult to enforce. It also had survived a 24-hour filibuster from Senator Strom Thurmond. As Senate Majority Leader, Lyndon Johnson has been involved heavily in the fight for the Civil Rights Act of 1957, and as president, he was committed to honoring his values and Kennedy's legacy in the fight for a much more comprehensive 1964 Act. Oh, Lord, this is a long article. So basically...
He had a long-ass life, dude.
Yeah. Let's see. Committed to a filibuster effort were the powerful senators Richard Russell, Thurmond, Robert Byrd, William Fulbright, and Sam Irving. Russell started the filibuster in late March 1964, and it would last for 60 working days in the Senate. Oh, geez.
Wow.
Behind the scenes, two opposing leaders were working to find a way to get 67 votes. The Democratic Senate Whip, Hubert Humphrey, and the Senate Minority Leader, Everett Dickerson of Illinois. At first, Dickerson opposed the House version of the bill because of certain passages, even though he was a longtime civil rights supporter. Humphrey, a Democrat, worked together with his Republican colleague to make the bill more acceptable to Republicans while not weakening its powers, which I don't know if I actually agree with that. I'm 90% sure it was actually the Republicans who got the filibuster, or got the Civil Rights Act passed.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So on June 10th, 1964, Dickerson made a powerful speech that served to bring more Republicans onto his side. Dickerson made his case and then quoted the author Victor Hugo, "Stronger than all the armies is an idea whose time has come." I kind of like that quote. The senator has reminded his colleagues that the Republican Party stood for equality since its founding in the years before the Civil War. That same day, the Humphrey Dickerson Group got 71 votes to end the filibuster, 4 more than needed, as 27 Republicans had decided to support the act. During the vote, the terminally ill senator from California, Claire Engle, was brought to the floor in a wheelchair, unable to speak because of a brain tumor. Ingalls pointed to his eyes to signify a yes vote. President Johnson signed the bill on July 2nd in a nationally televised ceremony. The new law prohibited discrimination in public places. It also provided the integration of schools and other public facilities, and it made employment discrimination illegal. But let's not forget, Joe Biden didn't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle. So just keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen.
He really is a piece of garbage.
Yeah, he's definitely something. So let's talk about why the filibuster is a good thing. This will be a little bit more philosophical and talking about a little bit more of my beliefs on why government can go suck a horse cock. So, there is an old saying, principle before party. Meaning, if your principle is a stance of less government, you don't then, because Republicans, let's say I'm a Republican, you don't then, because the Republicans are in power, you don't support Republicans doing things that are not in line with your stance on less government. As an example, Donald Trump using executive orders. I was not a fan. And even if I may have liked some of his executive orders, I'm not a fan of the executive power. So the reason why we have principles before party, Joe Biden, how many executive orders did he sign in his first fucking week? 56?
Yeah.
I don't want any party to have that power. I want the principle of less government. What people don't realize is your party will never be indefinitely in power. So let's say the reason why we're talking about the filibuster is because of court packing. Joe Biden said, I will not pack the courts. But now they're trying to bring a bill about packing the courts. And they want to pack and put 4 new additional Supreme Court justices, which will give them just the right amount of votes to declare anything they want to be constitutional. Anal rape for white men, constitutional. Sodomy for white men, constitutional. Mandatory castration for white men, constitutional. And I'm saying these as just outlandish things because the government can do literally whatever the fuck it wants to you because they have that power. Let me rephrase that. They have that. What's a word for fake power? I want it to be like a really good word. Man, I'm so mad I can't think of anything. Well, they have that facade of power, I will say. We'll just say that. I think you're on mute. Because I couldn't hear.
It's fake in a different language.
Yeah. They have that facade of power.
I said illusion.
The illusion. They have the illusion of power. So the reason why my general principle is principle before party. I don't want power just because Republicans are in power, because in 2 years might be the Democrats. And in 2 years after that, there might be more Democrats. And then all of a sudden, you're up shit creek and you handed them so much power that you did not want the government to have in the first place on a principled position. But because you wanted your Republican to have as much power as possible, now you get fucked in the bed you made.
It was one of the smarter things that Mitch McConnell said. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And then all of a sudden he turned into a fucking turtle that got knocked over on his back and just flapping his fucking arms and legs around trying to flip over, and he can't because he's a fucking idiot.
Yep. And that's the issue with he's party before principle. He's not even party. He's him before principle. He's him before party before principle. He has no principles.
No.
None of these people do. I mean, for fuck's sake, Dan Crenshaw, the one-eyed bandit, is in favor of red flag laws. I mean,
yeah,
you're from fucking Texas and a fucking Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. I can't with these people. So,
well, the problem with that red flag law, though, is anybody can call the police on anybody and say, oh, I think they're a danger to themselves or others.
Society, yes.
Yeah, and that's it. You're fucking convicted right there.
Yep.
It's no more a jury of your peers. It's a fucking media fucking frenzy. You're guilty, motherfucker.
You're
as
guilty
soon as the
call
goes out.
Yeah.
Which, let me go back to the beginning real quick. When it comes to pedophiles,
they're
you
guilty.
Were always fucking guilty.
Yep.
This is true. I don't give a fuck.
Yep. That's the one principle I will bend on. Anything related to pedophiles, I bend on that principle.
Yes. Anyway.
And communists. Yes. But that's because pedophiles and fucking communists are not people to me.
No, they're disgusting.
Yep.
It's vile creatures that we don't really need in our society.
Yep.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm down with 1984. I want to live in Oceania.
So, principles before party, ladies and gentlemen. Just try and remember that. Anything that obstructs government power, whether it be your party in power or the other party in power, is a benefit to society. It's a benefit to everyone. The less government can fuck you in the ass, the better off you will be. So let's say all of a sudden, Joe Biden gets his four Supreme Court justices, and now they can pack the courts at any time. Donald Trump, he loses about 15 pounds. He's as fit as a fucking fiddle, sick-pack abs, dick as long as a horse, just fucking American flag tattooed on his back. Fucking the Chuck Norris of presidents, you know? Let's say he runs for office again in 2024. Now Donald Trump has that power to add as many justices as he wants. So now we get a 4 fucking years of whatever dumb shit the Republicans want to do now. And you know who's going to fucking hate it? The Democrats. So do you just want to go tit for tat for tit for tat? All of a sudden in the next 20 years, we have 376 Supreme Court justices. For what? For fucking what? All because some baby-backed bitch wants to have 4 justices on the Supreme Court so he can ram through whatever bullshit gun laws he wants to make, and he can ram through whatever fucking voter legislation laws he wants to, and he can ram through that white people are automatically to be deemed terrorists at all crosses. Well, are we just going to play this game for the next 50 fucking years until someone fucking fires the first shot and we just start a full-blown civil war?
Yes.
Good. All right, let's fuck it. Let's just do the first shot now. Fuck the ping pong back and forth. Let's just pop this shit off now. Like, yeah, it's ridiculous.
I say yes, kind of jokingly, but it does seem like that is the way people want it, right?
Yes.
Because it almost seems like us as people, there is here's the word, an illusion. That's the word of the day. We should do what Pee Wee Herman did and scream.
And touch people?
Well, he touched himself. That was his only crime, was jerking off in a fucking porno movie theater like everybody else was. But he was Pee Wee Herman. Like, who gives a fuck? Anyway. Man, he had such a
All I'm going to say is I put my fair share of bodily fluids inside of theaters. Not touching myself. I may have been having sex in theaters several times.
Well, okay. Anyway. No, but it almost seems like people don't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
Because if we have power, then why is it that you can sit around and agree to disagree with someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what, you guys can come to the agreement in most cases that whatever political, and I'm using air quotes, but low ones because it's so stupid. Whatever political leanings you have, it does not matter, because you can come together on the sheer fact that this whole fucking country is fucked. Yep. And that the government, and even, I swear to God, we were watching my wife likes Black Ink Crew, right? And we were watching their finale thing where they do a reunion of all the cast or whatever. And they were talking about, they asked the guys what their thought was when they, the COVID came out and shit. And the dude, the first thing out of his mouth was, well, we just figured the government was telling us, so it was bullshit. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yep.
And more often than not, you're meeting people out there in the real world that it's bullshit. Everything that they have been doing 2021 is bullshit. Yep. And how someone like Joe Biden and Donald Trump and all of the people involved, right? It's like we're watching a fucking stage show and we can't turn the TV off because no one's got the balls to get up and just click the fucking button to turn it off, right?
Yep.
So do you understand where I'm going with it?
I do.
Where it's like, it's so bad, but nobody can stop watching. And then it's become a thing where it's kind of like, Yeah, it's kind of like the Star Wars fans, right? They all fucking hate each other because they both love and hate everything about Star Wars.
Well, you got like
right?
3 separate factions of Star Wars. You got the guys that hated the prequels, love the originals, and then hated the sequels. You got the guys that love the sequels or the prequels and the originals, but didn't like the sequels. Then you have the guys that like the fucking sequels, hated the prequels, like the original. You just have so much hate.
Yeah. It's like, you know, and it doesn't help because the people that are turning us against each other are making money off of our backs.
Yeah.
And they're making the rules for your life.
Yep.
And they don't even know you.
Yep.
They don't know what you do. Like, yes, if they were to look you up on their little database, they would definitely know who you were and everything about you probably.
However, I'd be assassinated.
Right. You'd be put in jail, locked away in a concentration camp. Like fucking whatever that Tom Cruise movie was, Minority Report. Yeah. You'd have a fucking Minority Report. You'd be dead somewhere. Right. I'm just saying, like, that is where we're going. Right. Because the government right now has so much control. The government is no longer afraid of the people.
No.
Do you remember when if you ever watch the movie Forrest Gump, they show this scene where there are it looks like millions of fucking people in Washington. How fucking unnerved do you think those politicians were then? And there were less of them then.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
What's crazy to me is you had, I don't know how many, let's just say 1 million for argument's sake, were there for the January 6th thing with Trump. Why weren't there fucking National Guard there? Why weren't there more police there? Why did they have 10 people and fucking Bob from IT?
Yeah. Why wasn't, if that was incitement, why wasn't somebody in his detail saying or shutting the camera off or being like, yo, you can't do this? You know what I mean? Like, it would have been nipped in the bud. So I'll just say, I just look at it as a parade of people going from one area, invited down to the Capitol to show support, and then they were let in. And then the crazy people started going crazy like fucking assholes. So yes, those people that were doing stupid shit and destroying things and trying to beat people up, whether people got killed or not, or people freaking got beat up or not, who cares?
Yeah.
Well,
and what's funny too is, so the January 6th riot, if you search riots on Google, the first top 5 or 6 results are the January 6th riot at the Capitol. And it's now April. But if you search peaceful protests, what comes up are the riots happening in Minnesota right now.
Yeah.
So the riots are peaceful
over the
protests.
Kid. Is it the ones over the Kid?
Yep.
Yeah, right.
So the riots are peaceful protests, and the unguided tour of the January 6th event was a riot.
Yeah. That's why they tell you in Jurassic Park, stay on the tour.
Yep.
You must stay on the tour.
Yeah. So the big thing is anything that obstructs government's power is for the better, no matter who's in power. I don't give a fuck if you have 9 Republican, conservative to the fucking core, libertarian. I don't care if you have 9 of me on the Supreme Court, 356 me's in the fucking Congress, 100 of me in the damn Senate, and 1 of me sitting in the president's office. Do everything you can to obstruct my power. Everything. The less government is involved in your life, the better. Because I cannot represent you. All 502 of me in the federal government cannot represent you, the fucking individual. So anything that obstructs federal government power, including the filibuster, is a good thing.
Agreed.
And that's my rant on that. But now we have to give kudos to Nancy Pelosi.
Why?
I know.
I hate it.
You have to extend out a hand of good faith. And I'm going to quickly pull that hand away and bitch slap her afterwards.
I'm just going to say why, because they're always trying to shove stuff up my ass, and I clearly don't like that.
Because we're men of principle and we're better than them.
Oh. Okay.
That being said, Democrats' court packing plan dead on arrival as Nancy Pelosi won't consider it. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has nixed a proposal to expand the United States Supreme Court, telling reporters Thursday that she won't advance legislation some Democrats unveiled this week. I have no plans to bring it to the floor, Pelosi, a California Democrat, said. The Judiciary Act of 2011, backed by the House Judiciary Committee Chair, Jerry Nadler, a New York Democrat, would add 4 seats to the High Court. In a news release, Nadler argued that because there are now 13 districts instead of 9, that growing the court makes sense, which I will concede that fact. That does actually make sense. If you have 9 districts instead of 9, or if you have 13 districts instead of 9, maybe having 13 Supreme Court justices wouldn't be a bad idea. But instead of just taking 4 during your presidency, do 2 and 2. 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. That way it splits it even Steven, 50-50.
Yep.
Others backing the proposal have pointed out to the court's conservative tilt after former President Donald Trump seated 3 new justices during his 4 years in office. The Republican-controlled Senate blocked former President Barack Obama from appointing a justice during his final years in office, saving the seat for Trump, which I disagree with the framing on that. What happened was the Senate was controlled by the Republicans. They decided to not even bring forth the nomination because it's a Republican-controlled Senate, so it wouldn't pass anyways. So why even waste time doing it? I understand that. And the reason why is because the fucking Democrats were like, oh yeah, let's just make it a 50-50 on Supreme Court nominations instead of the 2/3 that it needed to be. And look how it bit him in the ass with fucking Donald Trump appointing 2 shitty justices and one that seems like he's doing all right.
Boo.
Let's see. And then, we got to read this. Of all the damage Donald Trump did to our Constitution, this stands as one of the greatest travesties, said Senator Ed Markey, a Massachusetts Democrat who supports the plan. This legislation will restore the court's balance and public standing and begin to repair the damage done to our judiciary and democracy. And we should abolish the filibuster to ensure it passes. Ed Markey? You can go get fucked.
Yeah, fuck you, bro.
So, yeah, that's oh yeah, I gave my kudos to Nancy Pelosi. Kudos to you for not wanting to tear this country apart with ramming through a bill that would extend the amount of Supreme Court justices. Although Republicans, as a courtesy, if you want to be spineless cunts, feel free to give this to them anyways, and watch your country burn. And me being the fucking what's his name? The William Wallace. What's the movie called? What's the movie called? Braveheart. I'll be there with my blue fucking face painted, and I will gladly be marching down Fifth Avenue. I don't know if that's where the Capitol is, but
I think he dies in that movie.
That's all right. I'll be a martyr.
I think in that movie too, they like stepped on his balls or something. They like
I don't use them anyways.
Yeah.
So
that's what it is.
That's the end of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. And We hope you enjoyed it. And we hope you picked up some lessons along the way. Like how
we're not sorry.
Yeah, no. I refuse to apologize for my disdain for government of any size, shape, or form.
Yep.
And
they suck.
Yep. The sooner people realize, and one thing I will say too, now there's gonna be another now half episode or half hour of the episode. What I will say too is the media pushes a divide in this country like nobody's business. If Matt or I were to, and we actually do plan on doing this, or at least I plan on doing it for sure. If I were to go sit down and talk with any normal person, we would agree on about 9 out of 10 things. We just have different ways we think it should be dealt with. Some people are more government, some people are less government. I believe the citizen is smart enough to figure out for themselves. And if they're not smart enough to figure out for themselves, maybe their bloodline shouldn't be in the fucking gene pool then.
Okay.
So that's my stance. I think we need a lot more Darwinism.
Yeah. Well, also, it seems that people want the divide.
I would agree.
Only because I feel like people are so upset about what's going on and the shit that they're being told that they know they're not going to just go lash out at some government worker, right? Because they don't know where they are. They're going to lash out at their neighbors and fucking you and anybody online that disagrees with them. They're just going to be like, self-righteous me, fuck you, just kind of like how we're doing. But in our opinion, we're right. So fuck you.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, we should be trying at least to get along.
Yeah,
and know who the real enemy is. And the enemy is the fucking Nancy establishment.
Pelosi. That too. It's a full-on class war.
Yeah. It's full-on class the establishment, war. Man. And it's never going to change unless people start waking the fuck up to it, right?
Yep.
Take the red pill.
No, take the white pill. Take the white pill.
That's fucking racist, bro.
That's all right. I'm okay
with the fuck, America?
What the fuck, America? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the episode. Peace out.
Later.